Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. We're extremely pleased that we are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Yes. You're knowing what you are wanting? You're appreciating the contrast of your time and place? Oh, yeah. Say yes. Your words don't matter at all, do they? Because the universe is not responding to what you say. The universe is responding, we could say, to how you feel, but that's not completely accurate. Because how you feel is your indication of what you're offering vibrationally, and what you're offering vibrationally is what your point of attraction is, yes? Sometimes what you say harmonizes with what you mean, and what you mean is always reflected by what you feel, and what you feel is always an indication of what you're offering vibrationally, and what you're offering vibrationally is always about what you're focused upon, isn't it? What you're focused upon, past, present, future, doesn't matter. If you're focused upon it, it's vibrating. And if you maintain your attention on that for as little as 17 seconds, then your vibration begins to reflect whatever it is you're focused upon, and your point of attraction is then affected by what you're giving your attention to. Isn't that nice to know? That you can give your attention to things as you choose, and that as you do, you can get a vibration going, and with a little bit of attention, you can get a really strong vibration going. That's what a belief is. A belief is just a strong vibration. It's a habit of vibrating. It's a habit of thought. It's a habit of attention. It's a habit of focus. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking, yeah? It's just a thought you keep thinking. And what makes some thoughts easier to continue to think than others? Habit, attention to them. But why is that so? Why is it that it's easier to continue to believe the things that you've picked up along your physical trail than to find a new belief? Because law of attraction is assisting you, helping and hindering in a sense, because law of attraction continues to reflect back to you things that match what you've got going on vibrationally. So if you decide that you're going to give your attention to something because it's true and it's something that you don't want, and you give your attention to it and you practice your attention upon it long enough that you begin offering a steady vibration about it, so much so that it becomes your point of attraction, then you begin manifesting those things that you do not want, but they're true. And we say, there are a lot of things that are true that you would like to experience, and some things that are true that you don't want to experience. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would be picky about the things that we choose of the true things. So we've been talking to you for a while, and it has been our desire to assist you in really understanding who you are, how you fit into the bigger picture of creation. So long before you came into this physical body, you were source energy, non-physically focused source energy. And even when your consciousness came into this body and you donned this personality and they gave you that name and they appreciated the beingness of that which you are, still the non-physical part of you remains non-physically focused, pure positive energy. Sometimes you call that soul. We call it your inner being, consciousness. It is source energy. It's the source energy part of you. So here you are in your body, out here on this leading edge time-space reality, mixing it up with each other, observing, contemplating, focusing, giving your attention to this and that. And as you do, you're sifting through variety, and in doing so, you're doing exactly what you knew you would do. You are coming to personal preferences, because you have a personal perspective that matters. So as you are sifting, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want, you're coming to all kinds of conclusions even before you are able to speak with words, or even sometimes when you don't want to speak them in words. You are forming preferences, personal preferences, that are so important to the scheme, to the larger scheme, because as you are giving birth to these new desires are being held for you, really for all of us, in what we have been lovingly referring to as the vortex of creation. And the reason that we are giving you the analogy of this vortex, this swirling place where all thoughts that you are asking for, all things wanted, all the best of what you have lived so far is being held for you, is because we want you to begin to understand that you have potentially 2 points of attraction. There's the point of attraction of who you really are and all that you've become. And there's a point of attraction of who you are right now, this red hot minute, as you're focused upon whatever you're focused upon, past, present, or future. So you have the opportunity to have 2 opposing vibrational points of attraction, or 2 aligned, which would really be 1. So we are giving you the analogy of the vortex. We say, you know what you don't want, and when you know what you don't want, a rocket of desire emanates from you and is held in this vortex. It's this vibrational version of that which you have become, which is altogether not very satisfying to you, because you're not really interested, most of you, in the vortex version, the not yet manifested version. We want you to be more excited about it because it's where we stand and we're happy about it. We want you to be more happy about this vortex version because everything that is manifesting in terms of your expansion or the evolution of all species is held in this vibrational place first. So we say held there, meaning focused upon by those like us who are aware of all that you have become, who are aware of the leading edge expanded version of you. Every negative emotion that you feel, no matter what you think the reason for it was or is because your attention to this subject is varying to some degree from the attention that the source within you is holding upon the same subject. So we'll talk more about that. If you've been listening to us for a while, and many of you have, you've heard us talking about the vortex. You know that the vortex is this vibrational creation. It's a vibrational creation that has not yet manifested, but most important, that you can feel if you focus in the direction of it. When something goes wrong, then you're more willing to listen to our story of alignment, of allowing, because you can allow the fullness of who you are or you can resist it. It's your choice. And the more you allow it, the better you feel. The more you resist it, the worse you feel. But you have the option of focusing. We acknowledge that it takes some practice, and that's what we do in these forums. We talk about it in ways that make it easier for you to then begin to apply it. But really what it comes right down to is all up to you, isn't it? It's all up to your willingness to focus, but more important, we think, more important, it is up to your desire to feel good. That's really what is at the basis of your guidance system. If you care about how you feel, then you're going to choose better and better feeling thoughts. And when you choose better and better feeling thoughts, you'll choose more often to be in the vortex. You'll choose more often to be in alignment with all that you are. And once you establish patterns of feeling good, that's when, and this is the new analogy that we're offering you these days, that's when you establish deliberately. Sometimes you do it indeliberately, but everything is better when you do it on purpose. You establish deliberately your point of attraction. In other words, you deliberately look for reasons to feel good. You awaken in the morning and maybe meditate for a few moments. That's a powerful way of coming into alignment with who you are. Because when you stop thought, you stop resistant thought. And when you stop resistant thought, your vibration raises. And when your vibration raises, you come into alignment with who you are. When you make lists of positive aspects, you come into alignment with who you are. When you focus upon things that you appreciate, you come into alignment with who you are. But sometimes something that's happening in your experience has your attention. And it's right that it does sometimes. So sometimes something has your attention that keeps you from being in alignment with who you really are. And so what we want to help you to understand is that no matter what you are giving your attention to, in giving your attention to it, you are establishing what we are calling a basis or a foundation or a point of attraction. So we want you to focus today, if you want to, on the concept that you are walking around all day, every day, establishing a foundation or a point of attraction, a sort of grid that will fill in, the grid, a grid. So as we're talking to you today about this point of attraction, we're going to be asking you, what are you doing with your grid? What kind of a grid have you got going on? And we want you to come to recognize that when your grid is a vibrational match to the grid of who you are. Now, what do we mean by that? The source within you. Oh, you were born into this physical time-space reality with this powerful point of attraction. You are pure positive energy. You knew your value. You know your worthiness from that perspective. You knew the reason that you were coming into this experience. You were solid and steady and sure. You knew love. You were love. You are love. You loved. In other words, just such a solid, steady grid. Nothing had diverted you from it. You hadn't seen some injustice in the world, or no one had wronged you. No one had made you feel uncomfortable. You had not yet given your attention to those things that would cause you to offer a vibration that could cause some separation. So we just want to say to you, we're going to be saying it a lot, that whatever you're focused upon has you establishing a grid. And the longer you focus upon it, the more established that grid becomes. So you could have, for example, a grid that you come easily to relative to finances. In other words, every subject is two subjects, what is wanted and absence of what is wanted. And sometimes you think that you're focused completely upon the financial well-being that you want, but when you're noticing what you can't do with the money you don't have, that's not the end of the stick that you're focused upon. So without even meaning to, you're establishing a grid, a vibrational basis that says, I don't have enough money. In fact, I hardly know anybody who has enough money. In fact, there's a big injustice in this world today about not enough money. And you get a grid like that going, and law of attraction will bring you evidence of that until you'll say, well, it's true. I wouldn't be saying it if it were not true. And we say, it is your attention to it that makes it true for you, you see. And that's a hard thing, because you're running around, you're in individual bodies, you're sitting on individual clumps, on individual chairs, and you don't realize how interconnected you are with one another. But when you give your attention to what masses are doing, when you give your attention to what a political party is doing or what a religion is doing, when you give your attention to anything, in doing so, you establish a vibrational pattern which becomes your point of attraction. And all of that is a wonderful thing. It's part of why you came into this time-space reality. You want to take thought beyond that which it has been before, and you want to be joyful in the process of it. But so many of our human friends have forgotten, it seems, that there is a standard within them that will help them to know. It is a guidance system that is unequivocally accurate at all times. There's a guidance system within you that will help you to know in any moment of any day, whenever you are focused upon anything, how that focus, how that attention, how that perspective, how that opinion, how that belief meshes with the whole of who you are and what you really want. And you can tell by the way you feel. Once you get the hang of this, you're going to start caring about how you feel. You're going to begin to care about how you feel enough that you're going to be able to let how you feel guide you incrementally to more habits of thought which establish more grids that are more in alignment with who you are. If you've been listening to us for a while, you've been hearing us say that when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that all things go more powerfully the way you want them. You've been hearing us say that one who's connected to the stream or to the flow, or one who is in alignment with who you really are, is more powerful than millions who are not. And what we're really talking about is you finding somehow, some way to line up more and more and more with that core grid that beams up through you, that grid of love and well-being and prosperity and vitality and energy. And it's when you feel frisky. It's when you feel alive. It's when you feel your passion. It's when you are full of who you are. It's when you are tuned in to the vibrational, expanded most beingness of that which you are. So you got to ask, well, if I was all of that before I came, tell me again why? Why did I agree to come into this body and expose myself to this? You call it variety, Abraham. You call it contrast. I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. In other words, tell me again, did I really agree to come into this environment? We say, yes, you did, because you knew that in the exploration of the contrast that you could come to eternal, never-ended new perspectives of value, perspectives of goodness, perspectives of advancement, perspectives of expansion. You know that you are an eternal being, and you wanted the exposure to the variety that would help you and all of us to expand. One of the things that our physical friends most often misunderstand is that you are the leading edge of all that we are. You are the leading edge out here exploring, pioneers, exploring.